name is Keith Smith. I live in New York City, but I grew up right here in Lincoln, Rhode Island, in Representative Jack Lyle's district. Chairman Craven, members of the committee. In 1980, as a political science major right here at Providence College, I interned upstairs for Governor Joe Garrahy in the House chamber and across the rotunda in the Senate. So it's with deep respect and sincere gratitude that I appear here today to ask you for your support of H 5171, introduced by Representatives McEntee, Craven, Casimero, Blazejewski, and O'Brien. If passed, this bill will extend the current statute of limitations in civil actions for sexual abuse of a child up to 35 years after the alleged abuse, and provide a 3-year window allowing survivors who have been barred from filing suit under the current version of the law to file a civil suit in Rhode Island Superior Court. For 15 years, I served on the board of directors of a 501c3 social services agency providing crisis intervention counseling services to child victims of sexual abuse. 6 of those 15 years as chairman of the board. For the past 10 years, I've been a member of the Speakers Bureau of the Washington, D.C.-based RAINN. It's R-A-I-N-N. It's the Rape Abuse Incest National Network, where I've been speaking publicly at conferences, high schools, colleges, universities, on radio and TV, and to print journalists about realistic steps that adults can take to keep kids safe from sexual abuse. Today, I'm not here as a chairman of a board or a member of RAINN Speakers Bureau. Today, I'm here in a very different role, a personal role. Today, I'm here to speak with you as a survivor of sexual violence. In 1974, I was abducted by a stranger and beaten and raped in the woods off of Sherman Avenue in Lincoln, Rhode Island. I was 14 years old. I weighed 107 pounds. I am a survivor of a childhood stranger of danger, abduction, and rape. I'm not here to tell my story, but I'm going to share with you what I've learned from my own experience and what I've learned in over 100 conversations I've had with adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, and ask you to help the children of Rhode Island and adult survivors here in Rhode Island by supporting H 5171 as proposed without revisions. Children who are victims of sexual abuse often resort to inappropriate behaviors to cope, as they suffer through physical, emotional, behavioral, and social problems directly related to their abuse. Some will turn to drugs or alcohol, drop out of school, run away from home, suffer from eating disorders, sleeping disorders, personality disorders, stress, anxiety, depression, disassociation, post-traumatic stress syndrome, and life-threatening sexually transmitted disease. Some children will have difficulty forming trusting relationships, will resort to physical violence, sexual promiscuity, and inappropriate and sometimes criminal sexually reactive behavior. Some children will resort to cutting, self-mutilation, and in the most extreme cases, they've murdered their abuser, while others contemplate, attempt, or commit suicide. Directly attributable to their sexual abuse, victims often suffer these enduring problems throughout their adolescence into adulthood, many suffering through decades of silence, never disclosing their abuse, never. But why not? Why won't they disclose? Sexually abused children and adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse remain silent out of misplaced guilt, fear, shame, embarrassment, feelings of being complicit in their abuse, and under threat of violence from their perpetrators, threats of violence often directed at the child, their family, their friends, and even their pets. In time, often in a number of years that far surpass the current statute of limitations, some victims of childhood sexual abuse will get the strength to come forward, the strength to speak out, the strength to face the demons that haunt them and the perpetrator of their abuse. Unfortunately, the amount of time that lapses between the sex crime committed against the child and the date the adult survivor comes forward seeking justice often exceeds the current statute of limitations and eliminates the possibility of legal civil recourse. I want to be clear, this bill is not anti-Catholic. While this bill will hold priests accountable for the crimes they've committed against children and the church accountable for the cover-up of those crimes, this bill holds accountable every criminal who has or will abuse kids, regardless of who they are or where they work. Parents, step-parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters, friends of the family, neighbors, school teachers, bus drivers, coaches, doctors, lawyers, business owners, carpenters, plumbers, construction workers, firemen, cops, bankers, brokers, the guy down the street, the stranger, and yes, Catholic priests, bishops, and cardinals too. This bill is not anti-Catholic, it's pro-child. It saddens me to say that I believe that sex crimes committed against kids will never stop. Since the life-altering physical, emotional, behavioral, and social side effects of childhood sexual abuse last a lifetime, shouldn't a victim's ability to file a civil lawsuit against their perpetrator extend beyond the victim's 25th birthday? Mr. Chairman and members of the House Committee on Judiciary, I respectfully request your support of H 5171 as proposed without revision. Thank you.
Thank you.